Hi guys! Welcome back to another drag slash rant video. This one is going to be on this look, which I'm really excited about. I just want to say that obviously this is inspired by Miss Gay Matt, which is the Instagram user who I personally believe invented this under eye sort of look, or at least popularized it in Instagram and sort of gave me the inspiration to create this look, which is what I'm calling like babyface drag, sorry. I just think because the features are so over accentuated, it makes your face look smaller, it makes you look so much cuter, it looks really young and childish and baby-like. And I wanted to pair that idea, which might seem a little weird, with talking about women in drag communities and in just queer communities in general, how they're treated, how they're represented, how they're talked about, a lot of the underlying misogyny that happens within these drag communities and other gay communities, and how I'm kind of sick of it. I think that as a woman who is interested in drag and who is a part of different queer communities, I've experienced these problems myself, and I've seen a lot of other women experience these problems. And I just want to talk about what I think is fucked up in the world. So, yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this look. I'm just going to be like squinting at myself for hours. If you want to see how I became this, then keep watching.
So, to start this rant, I'm actually going to start by talking about misogyny within queer spaces and expressed through gay men specifically before we get into the whole drag side of things. And I'm talking about misogyny geared towards women who are both queer and straight, trans, cis. I'm just talking about women being attacked within queer communities, not feeling safe, not feeling represented, not feeling welcome, being marginalized against generally. And I think it stems just from gay men in general, because gay men are not, special unicorns who are free from other sort of like societal expectations just because they fall within a minority group. They don't get to just disrespect other minority groups. And I think that a lot of gay men think that just because they're gay, it gives them a free pass to say whatever they want about women and to treat women however they want. And it ends up being really disrespectful a lot of the time. And I think it needs to be talked about. I think one of the first things that's really obvious is just fear of the female body in conversation. You'll hear so many gay men talking about vaginas or just female bodies and other things with just utter disgust, confusion, like purposeful confusion. Like they purposely don't educate themselves on anything regarding a woman's body because they just absolutely disgust it, and they just talk about it so poorly and use such, offensive language towards it. There's so much violent language and vulgarity surrounding how men treat women. You'll hear slurs thrown around in these joking sort of tones that, a gay man thinks that he can talk to female friends and call them all these swear words and call them a cunt and a bitch, and it's fine because it's in jest in some way, but it's still mean and it still hurts. Another big issue is exclusion from gay spaces, whether that be gay bars where gay men say that they hate how all women are there, forgetting the fact that queer women also exist and gay women want places to go and drink and meet people. I see problems at like pride parades sometimes, even where, gay men just form like close groups and they don't want to acknowledge the fact that lesbians and bisexual women and trans women even exist and are within this space as well. And then, of course, most obviously, Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race. Women aren't allowed on RuPaul's Drag Race, and that still kills me. But that'll be later. And then my final problem really is just the sexualization of female bodies within gay communities. I personally experienced this where I just had gay friends growing up who thought that because they weren't attracted to me, that it meant that they were allowed to pick me up and grab me and jokingly kiss me and do all these things that made me feel uncomfortable. And they treated me with disrespect. I've heard stories of gay men groping women and thinking that it's fine because they're not sexually attracted to them, but it's just complete disregard for the female body. And then just the judgment fueled parody. Just parody is fine, and satire is valid within society. And I love comedy. I love satire. I think that when the parody is just fueled by this negativity and this cruelty, it almost seems like it kills me. And that's where I have the problem within drag. And I want to make this very clear. I do not think that all drag is misogynistic in nature. I do not think that drag is an evil entity and that every single drag queen hates women. What I'm saying is that I have a problem with drag queens and, people who are interested in drag and a part of that community who are taking so much of women's culture and then not even allowing women to perform in those spaces. I'm from Canada and I have done research, and there are basically zero drag queen performing nights. From what I could see, there was one in Toronto, which is where I live. I couldn't find any in Montreal. There's so many drag shows all the time, but to try and find a drag king show is nearly impossible. And then on top of that, trying to find a drag bar where you can perform as a faux queen or a bio queen, a female identifying person who performs as a drag queen. It's nearly impossible. You reach out to places and they either won't even acknowledge you or talk to you. They won't allow you to perform, or some places will allow you to perform, but then the audiences are so upset at you and angry and make you feel unwelcome, and they express anger towards you if you try and perform within these drag bars when you are a drag performer like no other. And this is where the misogyny comes in, is that the male performers who are performing as females, the male drag queens, think that they have this monopoly on drag and that they own it, when really they're just using the tool of femininity and this female sexuality to occupy real estate within the queer community that historically has been underrepresented. Within the queer community, historically, lesbians were viewed as more butch, masculine identifying female who were less attractive or not as interesting. And obviously that is not a true stereotype, but that is the message that was pushed by the media for so long. And the idea of being a queer woman and putting on heels and a dress and lipstick and performing and singing and being over eccentric, it's kind of seen as distasteful and not something that anyone cares about. But as soon as a man's doing it, it's interesting and exciting and evocative performance. When women have been doing this forever, women have been performing femininity since makeup and high heels and Hollywood and tabloid magazines and fashion magazines have come in and told women what they should look like and how they should dress and how they should do their makeup and their hair and perform every single thing for the male gaze. And now men are coming in, taking all of these things that women have been forced to do by society and saying, we're going to take that, we're going to use it to our advantage, and we're going to profit off of it, and essentially. Because most drag queens who are cis men don't want to perform in drag because they identify with being a female necessarily. They don't want to pretend to be a female. They don't want to say that they are a female. They're doing it because they like being on stage. They like the attention. They like feeling that power on stage. And a lot of drag queens will acknowledge this. The reason they get into drag is because they want to feel like a superstar. They want all eyes on them. They want the attention. They want the money, the glory, the titles, the fame behind being a drag queen. And although most drag queens never actually get that fame and glory and money, that's what a lot of them want. And they're using femininity as their tool to get that. They are using women to further themselves and yet also continue to mock women throughout all of this. This is a pure example of male superiority over a space that was previously occupied by women. And I'm not saying that men should not be allowed to express themselves in this way. I'm not saying that men shouldn't be allowed to put on heels and makeup and perform and feel sexy and have all eyes on them, because I think that drag and breaking down gender barriers is what our society needs. And I think that more men should get to feel beautiful and be on stage and feel sensual and have all that experience. But my problem is that men who do drag obviously benefit from it. They do it because they love it. They do it because it makes them feel good and it makes them feel confident about themselves and it helps them understand their sexuality or their gender or whatever. And then to turn around and to say, no, women aren't allowed to do that. I'm a woman who, throughout a lot of my life, was very tomboyish. I was very masculine. Even though I always loved makeup, I never wanted to perform being a woman. I never wanted to dress the way all the other girls did and have really long hair and act a certain way and dress a certain way just to make people view me as an attractive woman. So for me, I have so much power in dressing up in drag and seeing myself be this cartoonish, overly feminine person because it's not who I am. And that's why I wanted to pair this rant with this look today, because I wanted to show off just the absolute crazy expectations that women are put through all their lives. You know, this look, I call it babyface drag. And you might be saying, oh, it's babyface, but it has blue glittery eyeshadow and crazy lip gloss lips. But that's not what a baby looks like. And I sort of wanted to go for like a toddlers and tiaras look, because really, as a woman from the second you're born, you're expected to be a drag queen at points. You're expected to do your hair and do your makeup and your dress. And even if you're not the type of person who does that every day, you're probably going to have to do it eventually, whether it be prom or your wedding or whatever. You're always expected to be a woman. Men never have that expectation placed on them. They get to choose to perform as a woman if they choose to do drag. And that's awesome. And they should have that opportunity. But then for them to say, to women, no, you don't get to do this. You don't get to have fun and be over exaggerated and make jokes and put on these costumes and enjoy everything is absolutely ridiculous. Because the exclusion of women is misogyny, and it's furthering misogyny within this community. And the fact that drag queens would allow this to happen is crazy, because it not only harms women, but it also harms many drag performers and gay men, because they experience backlash from the misogyny that they themselves are perpetuating. So many drag queens complain about having male audience members being rude to them, making sexual comments at them, catcalling them, groping them, grabbing them, and just that is the shit that women deal with every single day of their lives. And then a man dresses up like a woman and experiences the same bullshit and doesn't feel any sympathy towards women, doesn't want them to also have the same opportunities and to be able to perform and express themselves and feel loved and feel the attention and feel the fame and the glory and the money of doing drag. So yeah, in conclusion again, that's why it's stupid that girls aren't allowed on RuPaul's Drag Race. Because I can transform myself with makeup so much better than other drag queens. And again, it's coming back to this. I will never have the opportunity to be on RuPaul's Drag Race. And that makes it hard for me every time I put on drag makeup to want to do it again. It makes it hard for me to keep caring about this and for me to want to keep doing this when I feel so excluded. I feel excluded in my city, which doesn't provide me any spaces to perform. I feel underrepresented in the media by RuPaul's Drag Race and by never seeing a drag queen who ever looks like me or will think like me or say anything that I will ever do. And it kills me. And I'm sick of all the misogyny within the queer community in general and within the drag community. And I just really hope that I can at least change your mind. I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this makeup look. I hope you liked this rant. I'll see you at my outro.
All right, and here we have my completed look. I think I struggled with the lips a little bit, to be 100% honest, but I do really like the effect of the eye. I love the glitter. When I close my eye, you get that big eye effect, which is what I was really going for. In terms of my rant, I also hope you enjoyed that. I think this one is closer to me than some of the other topics have been. It's something that I personally think about a lot more. Again, if you want to see the face chart and the look, you can head over to my Instagram and check it out there. You can see some photos of the look as well, because I think that this one's going to photograph really cool. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.